Hey guys, I have an exciting video for you today. It's time to harvest our bananas now. The fruit is ready. Now, the way I know it's ready is because you can see this yellow color here on some of them. And you can actually see, if you look right here, it's already plumped up so much that it's breaking the peel. Can you see that? You see that? It's already plumped up so much that the peel is actually coming apart. So we could have actually harvested this maybe a couple of days ago, but it's fine. Now this variety of banana is called the Señorita variety. It doesn't grow huge like the Cavendish that's more common in other countries. These grow small, but they're like extremely sweet. People say it tastes like candy. It's so sweet. I remember the first time I ate it, I said it tastes like candy. These are actually ripe before they turn yellow. Well, they're like this color, it's actually ripe. And how you know it's ripe for this variety is when it's round. You don't see the edges anymore, it's completely round. So even though these are green, they are ripe, especially here at the top ripe. These are maybe not quite ripe yet, or they're almost ripe, even though they're not technically yellow. This variety here, this is a different variety. This is Lakatan variety. It's similar to the Cavendish, that it does grow a little bit bigger. And these, it's ripe when it turns yellow. And they are plumping up. You see this? That's very plump. The edges are just about rounded. So these are actually almost ready. I'm just waiting for some yellow color, and then I'll know it's time to cut this one. Now, if you're from the Philippines and you're familiar with this variety, the first thing you're gonna notice is they're very big. The Señorita variety, doesn't usually grow this big. If you see it in the public market, it's usually a lot smaller than this. And that's because I fertilized it. I took a lot of good care of this plant, this banana plant. I took very good care of it. The way how you care for it, if you want to get big bananas like this or like the other one or any variety you have, what I do is I constantly mulch around the banana cluster. This is a whole cluster of bananas. I'm constantly mulching once per week or maybe every other week with grass or weeds or anything. Plus, as I chop the leaves down like this, I can chop this. As the leaves brown all the way to the trunk, this is the best mulch fertilizer for your banana plant. It naturally just it dies off on its own and feeds it, but you can intervene and do it yourself. But you constantly want to feed it. The second fertilizer I used is when I had the heart. When I first saw the heart come before there was any fruits whatsoever, is I had my black soldier fly larva farm where I feed my food waste, and it's insects that actually eat it and produce frass, a fertilizer. Their poop, the insects' poop, is one of the best fertilizers you can use. And you can kind of see it here, this black stuff here. You see that? Originally came from my black soldier fly larva farm, and that just fed it more, and that's how I ended up getting these very plump bananas. Now, if you're not used to this variety, you would think they're small. Well, that's because this variety is small, but if you are like familiar with this variety, you would realize these are actually bigger than normal. I'm not feeding the mother plant anymore. The mother plant is finished. Once you get the fruit, you need to cut it down. So I'm actually feeding the next mother plant, which is probably these two here. So it's all one plant. It's all connected by one rhizome called a corm. We call it a corm. It's all connected, and it sends nutrients to who needs it. It chooses who gets the nutrients. So right now the mother plant here is getting all the potassium and nutrients to feed the bananas. This plant is not going to live much longer once it is finished fruiting. And then what it'll do is start putting nutrients into other ones. So maybe one of these ones would then grow tall, and so it's just a never-ending supply of fruit. Well, let me show you my larva farm. So this is what I fed my banana plants to get very big fruits. These are black soldier fly larvae. It looks gross, but it don't smell bad at all. The reason why this is so nice is you can put your food waste instead of just wasting it away. And the larvae convert it into a frass that the plants love. And this is a larva farm. So we're farming the larvae. And what they do is once they reach full maturity, they go out. They look for how to get out. So we put these pipes here. Right, this is a farm to catch or to let the larvae go out. Then you can actually collect them if you want into a bucket, and you can feed chickens, you can feed fish, anything like birds, whatever. They're very nutritious. We're actually planning on having a tilapia farm, so stay tuned for that. We're gonna actually start raising tilapia, but don't like buy the tilapia first. Do the larva farm first, because they're gonna populate the area, and once you have enough population, then do the tilapia farm afterwards. So what a lot of people do when they harvest is they'll first cut the tree. Not the tree, it's not a tree. It's a herb really. There's no wood or anything. I just call it a tree, but it's not really a tree. To let it fall over a little bit so you can secure it and then chop it. I'm actually really sad that I'm chopping this down because I've had this plant for a year now. So now it's gonna fall over a little bit. Sorry, tree. You hear that? Okay. It's breaking. Now I need to secure it here. Just cut this part off. That's how you harvest it, just like that. And then, let me put this down. Just put it here. So these are ripe. The ones on the top are ripe. The ones at the bottom are almost ripe. Now this variety, you can actually cook it. You can boil it and eat it, or eat it ripe. Now don't think it's not ripe because the peels aren't quite yellow. They are ripe. These are very ripe. You see that? It's very sweet. It's like a candy, this variety of banana. And I wonder if mine's even sweeter because all the work I put into it. I'll let my wife try it. What's your verdict? Sweet?
It's so good.
It's so good?
It's good.
Good?
It tastes like potatoes, like sweet potatoes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so after you harvest your bananas, your job's not done yet. You need to break this down and mulch your plants to feed the next bananas that are growing. So I'm just gonna remove all the leaves. You could have did this first. Maybe I should have did it first. My wife is enjoying the bananas. You don't have to waste your leaves. You can actually like make pastel, a Filipino dish where you cook a rice and then wrap it, put some meat on top, and then it tastes really good. But I'm gonna feed it back to these. So all this will be mulched around my plant, the remaining bananas. I'm really sad, honestly, to cut down my banana. So I've had it for like a year now. So it's really sad to cut it. But that's just how bananas are. They're like a plant that keeps on giving. They don't take anything. They borrow nutrients, right? They feed the microbiome underground. They borrow nutrients, but they give it back. And they feed us. They feed the ground. They feed their babies, the little pups that grow. So I mean, it's just a plant that loves to give. I'm gonna cut this down more. Okay, now this is where people make the biggest mistake. And I'm gonna tell you the right way to do this, because if you watch other videos online, they're gonna tell you wrong information. They're gonna tell you, you won't believe how many videos I've seen online where they cut the base way down here. And that's very bad, because anytime you cut anything, let's use my mulberry tree for example. Anytime you cut it, there's something called a dieback, right? So if I cut it, I'll just cut it. If I cut it here, this top is gonna die back, and it's gonna rot and kill everything on its way down. So when you cut, and that's true for pretty much every plant, when you cut it at the base, the dieback goes back to the rhizome, and it just it harms your rhizome. It's called a corm. It harms it, and it affects the whole cluster. Okay, so you want to cut the core. So the core is about here, somewhere in here, to kill the plant. Okay, and as sad as that is, you have to, in order to shift nutrients to the other plants. So you have to kill it. So somewhere in here you have to cut it. Somewhere down here, about 1 foot to 2 feet, is where you want to cut it. Okay. What's gonna happen? And what's gonna happen is this is gonna die back a little bit, but it shouldn't reach the corm and the rhizome underneath, and this will just decay over time and it'll sort itself out. Now you can see my cut is angled, okay, and that's intentional, because if it's flat like this, the water can sit there and it can just rot, and the rot can spread to the underground corm and to the other plants, so when it rains and stuff. So you actually want to cut it angled. So this is about a 5-degree angle. So I basically just killed that plant. Okay, if you look here, this is the core of the plant, and if you look here, this is the life of the plant here, and each of these pieces is actually the leaf. See, the whole leaf grows and tightly wraps around this. This is called a pseudostem, the middle. The leaf just kind of protects the pseudostem. So the actual stem here is actually just the leaf that comes out as it grows. So it gets thicker and thicker with each leaf. It just grows thicker and thicker. So this plant is no longer going to take nutrients, and the whole corm rhizome is going to figure itself out. It's going to say, okay, who's the next plant that's going to fruit? My guess is it's either this one or this one or this one. It's going to figure it out on its own. It's going to start putting most of the nutrients into that plant, make a new flower or banana heart with the flowers, and make new fruit. So this cluster is just going to keep giving year after year after year. The bananas we just harvested should last us for like a few weeks at least, and by the time we're finished with those bananas, these will be ready, and then we can eat these for a few weeks, and by the time these are finished, we should have another fruit. Okay, I'm just gonna start breaking all the leaves and pseudostem down to feed the remaining bananas, get it the nutrients it needs. The banana plant is a fast feeder, so you should actually feed it fast release fertilizers. I personally, everything I make is homemade, organic, and this is actually the best fertilizer you can use for a banana plant. But because it likes to be fed quickly, you can just like speed up the process by cutting it into smaller pieces to increase the surface area. And then when you mulch it like around the base. You don't want to put it directly on top, because it breaks down so quickly. It releases like heat and it can rot a little bit. And you have to realize that the plant is not just what you see above ground. The main part of the plant is underground. the rhizome, that's like the whole, you know. So you want to do it around the base, not like directly on it. Now you could like make this go further by feeding it to your larva farm. The larva loves this so much and converts it into like a protein. Then you feed your protein larva to fish, and then you can like get more out of it. You can like grow bananas, grow fish, and which is our plan. We in a future video, we're going to start a tilapia fish farm using only what we grow. So the tilapia eats banana leaves. They love it actually. And they eat larvae. They eat a lot of different stuff. So if you want to see our tilapia video, make sure you subscribe. So in a few months or so, you'll see exactly how we start our tilapia farm, what we feed it. And you have unlimited meat, unlimited fruits, unlimited vegetables. So to understand how the bananas work, you need to understand how plants work just in general. Because a lot of stuff you see online, they tell you to use like fungicide, insecticide, stuff like that, and that is detrimental to everything. You cannot grow a plant without fungus, without any fungi or bacteria. It will never grow, because what happens is the banana plant, or any plant for that matter, it gets energy from the sun and it converts it into a sugar. Okay, it then puts the sugar into its roots. Why? It's to attract fungi. The fungi eats the sugar, and in turn, the fungi converts the elements in the soil and turns it into something that the plants can absorb, and actually helps expand the root system and absorb. So if you don't have fungi, your plants can't absorb anything. So it's like a mutual relationship. So the idea is, because I'm growing it in a cluster like this, is I'm really feeding the fungi, the bacteria, and the insects that are underground. You might think like I'm feeding the plant directly, and you are feeding it, but it's more indirectly. You're really feeding the fungi and stuff that are converting these elements and nutrients into something that the plants can actually absorb. So a lot of times what happens, let's say you have a banana farm, you want to just farm as many bananas as you can. What they would do is remove each little pup. Okay, they would cut it out and then, you know, separate it to grow more and get more out of it. The problem with that is, though, when you introduce a new plant to a new area, it doesn't have the fungi already with it. It takes time to build it up, and then that's what allows the plant to grow and everything it needs. And it can actually cause a disease breakout. So whenever you farm bananas, you need to be careful, because the disease can spread to everything. Like this, by allowing it to grow in a cluster, not only am I getting a lot of bananas in a tight area, the fungus and bacteria and insects underground are competing with the pathogens, the bad fungi and bacteria and bad insects. They just outnumber them. So growing it in a cluster, if you're not like have a plantation where you want to get the most bananas possible, you don't have to cut your banana and spread it out. It's what you essentially are doing, is trying to find more nutrients by spreading it out. This setup, instead of me trying to find nutrients, I'm bringing the nutrients from all around my area and bringing it to the whole plant. And the whole plant, the underground rhizome, you can see there's a lot of babies and stuff, right? So this is generation 1, generation 2, generation 3, generation 4. So we already have 4 generations, 4 years worth of fruit, and it's gonna grow more and more and more and more and more. So you have unlimited bananas. I don't recommend separating it unless you have a plantation and you have experience and you know what you're doing, because the whole corm, the underground rhizome, it's called a corm. It's a system, it's a network, and it's all one organism, really, right? You might say it's separate organisms, but they function as one. So let's say this plant gets sick, it's going to it's hard to explain it because it's not an animal. There's no like antibodies or anything like that, but it can send off different chemicals and stuff to protect the other ones. Whereas if you separate them and they're not connected, they're just all gonna get diseases. So it's always better to do it like this. And if you're not like having a plantation just at home, some people recommend right now, like after you harvest, to go ahead and remove the smaller pups and just leave the bigger ones to really focus all the nutrients. I don't do that because the plant naturally does that on its own. It can figure out and decide what's the next mother plant. And it's just too much work, and you don't like, you can see this here is the pseudostem. This is the life of the plant here. So once you cut it, you killed your plant. So if you really want, you could cut the top of it. This was the top. Cut it up here, and then a new plant would grow in its place. But if it's already fruited, it'll never fruit again. You only get 1 fruit per plant. And this is actually edible. Not this part, this part. This is actually edible, but I'm gonna feed the bananas. And by breaking it up like this, you just increase the surface area so it can break down quicker, because that's what the plant enjoys. It enjoys fast feeding. This part here is actually edible. I don't know what it tastes like though. I've never actually ate it. Tastes like nothing. No flavor. Alright, so all I've done is mulch this stuff. And what it's gonna do is not gonna feed the plant directly. It's gonna feed the fungi and bacteria and insects. The insects will eat it and poop, and then the plant eats the poop. The fungi will convert it into something that the plants can't absorb. So you are feeding your plant, but like I said, a lot of people, they might see that there's a fungus underground or a lot of insects underground, and they like freak out, and they might try to put a fungicide or insecticide, and that is the worst thing you can do. The fact that there's fungus is a good sign that your plant is thriving. So here's the thing, if you don't cut this into smaller pieces, it will just rot like inside. And what it's gonna do is feed other stuff like that's in the air and attract it, and then it could be a pathogen. It could be like a bad bacteria or a bad fungi. So by cutting it, I'm allowing it to break down quickly into the soil and make sure that it's feeding the fungi here that's already with the banana, instead of inviting a potential pathogen. Now, a lot of people believe that you should cut the base here because they're afraid that this would rot. What's gonna happen is it will have a dieback, it will rot a little bit, but as long as it doesn't reach the rhizome underneath, it'll just fix itself out. You're gonna have more problems by hurting the rhizome, and like, let's say this were to rot, it's not, because it's not touching. So if this rots, it's not gonna reach this. The biggest issue though is rotting the rhizome. So if this rots, it'll just fix itself. It'll just take care of itself. But don't cut it at the base. A lot of people are telling you the wrong thing. Now what I'm gonna do is cut our banana into the individual hands for easier storage. You can see some are already yellow. That's a good sign that it's time to, it's ripe now. Now they make a special tool for this where they have like a curve so you can really cut it good. But oops, I cut into the banana. Look at how yellow that is. These are mostly ripe. Just the ones at the bottom are not quite ripe. That's it. So, how many kilos is this? Maybe like 5 kilos?
I think like 7 maybe.
7 kilos maybe. Now this variety, it doesn't grow like the most kilos. It just grows the sweetest available. So there you have it, guys. The correct way to harvest your banana, when to harvest it. Again, it depends on the variety. This variety, known as Señorita variety, you're not necessarily looking for this yellow color. That is a good sign. What you're really looking for is when the edges here are rounded for this specific variety. Let's say the more common banana, the Cavendish, they don't even harvest it when it turns yellow because they export it. They wait again until it's nice and plump like this, then they cut it and then they ship it to other countries for export. The other variety we have, the Lakatan I showed you earlier, you really want to wait until you see some yellow before you cut it, and it's already plump, so I'm expecting yellow anytime now. So that's almost ready. So just a quick recap, if you want to grow like very plump big bananas, you need to make sure that you're mulching your banana plants every week or every other week with whatever green grasses, weeds, leaves, anything you have. The green feeds, has a lot of nutrients, especially like nitrogen. It feeds the underground microbiome, the bacteria, the fungi, the insects. The microbiome and the insects feed your banana plant. And you need to do this every week or every other week. Just feed it as much as you can. Once you have a banana heart that comes out, that is when you start to feed it with more fertilizer. I used the black soldier fly larva frass, and I just mulched around the base, so you don't put it directly on top because it creates heat and it rots, and it could attract rot to your banana plant. So around your base, it'll go into the soil and then feed your plant via fungi. Okay, so don't have this mentality whenever you take care of any plant. Don't think you're feeding the plant directly So think about it in terms of you're feeding your fungi that are then feeding your plant. I mean, it does matter. Don't, like, once you learn the actual anatomy of plants and the physiology of how they eat, you understand how it works better. Now this Lakatan variety here, it's already plumping up. So this is almost ready. I would say like within a week or two, these should be ready to cut. And this variety, it's sweeter than the Cavendish, the one that's common all around the world that gets exported from Philippines and Vietnam and other countries. This is sweeter, but it's not as sweet as the one we just harvested. That tastes like candy. I mean, it's just pure sugar. It tastes amazing. This variety, it's good for like smoothies. It's good for making banana bread, or you just eat it ripe as is. And in a week or two, whenever this is ready, I'm gonna make a new video showing what this looks like when it's fully finished. I'm gonna chop this down and do it all over again. This plant here is already decided its next mother plant. You see this one, it's not yet decided. It's got like 3 options. This one said, okay, when this is finished, we already got next designated mother plant, and it's gonna form a new heart. It's gonna break apart, make new bananas. So I mean, you have unlimited bananas. I have 2 different varieties. One that's very sweet, one that's just full of, you know, it's more, you get more out of it. So make sure you subscribe, you like this video, you comment, so that when this is ready, you can watch that.